I want to start this syllabus tour by acknowledging that physics is scary for a lot of people. And I know this because every time I get on a plane and someone sits next to me and asks me what I do for a living, and then I tell them that I teach physics to college students, I always get the same reaction, and I bet you can guess what that reaction is. It's something like, "Oh man, why do you teach physics? Physics is just the hardest subject. It was the worst subject that I ever did. I don't understand. Are you trying to torture people?" And because I've had this reaction so many times, I come prepared and I tell them that, "Oh my God, do you even know?" And they're like, "Know what?" I'm like, "Do you know that physics is the study of all the secrets in the universe? And moreover, did you know that we've only had the tools and the technology for studying these secrets for a blink of an eye in human time? Like if you made a calendar of human civilization where January 1st is the first human ever on the planet, right? And then, you know, today, this moment right now is the ball dropping on New Year's Eve, then we have only been studying physics in a meaningful way because of Galileo and the scientific method um, for what accounts to, halfway through New Year's Eve. In the whole calendar of human civilization, we've only been studying physics for like half a day. And so we live in this really privileged moment where we get to understand those secrets. And now you, by taking this course, get to be a part of that. And so, how cool is that? So, I say all this to bring home the point that even though physics is challenging and you will be having to learn new, ways of problem solving and, you've been through a semester of this before, it can be tough, but it's also a journey, a very special journey. And on top of that, I also have done my best to make this relevant to you as life science majors. Most of you are either pre-med or pre-dental or pharmacy, pre-pharmacy, or you want to be physical therapists or some sort of biological field. Well, it turns out that all of life science has to follow the rules of physics. So physics shows up in all of these different fields, and I'm designing this course to make it as relevant as possible for you. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. So now that I've said all that, I can get into, the details of the course, the classic, who am I? My name is Scott Stombach. And here's my email, and you can at any time ask me any question, and I do my best to respond within 24 hours, and usually a lot better than that. I'm going to have office hours from 10 to 11 a.m. Monday through Thursday, most Fridays too. So basically Monday through Friday or by appointment. So if that time doesn't work for you, I am open to making an appointment anytime to, answer all your questions. Now, the way that I like to think of office hours is free private tutoring from the guy who writes the exams, right? That's such an amazing resource for free, but yet so many students don't take advantage of it. And I don't fully understand why. But I encourage you, don't let me be lonely in office hours. Come, show up, ask your questions, and hopefully it'll be worth your while. Here's the Canvas homepage. This should naturally show up in your Canvas. And since this course is asynchronous, except for our exams, you will not have to meet at any specific time. Basically, what will happen is all of the lecture material for the course will show up in the modules on Canvas, and you can work through that at your own pace. If you have any more questions about that, of course, you can email me. The textbook for the course is called Physics by Cutnell and Johnson, and that comes along with the Wiley Plus homework pass and code, which I'll give you more details about later. And then there'll also be a free online textbook called Calculus-Based Physics by Jeffrey Schnick. And this is like the cheapest way that I could allow all of you guys to take physics. I think the code for access for the homework is only $70 as opposed to, $300 that a textbook usually is. I say only, I know that's still expensive, but it's a huge discount compared to the price of a full textbook. All right. So I think whenever you're starting a course, it's important to ask yourself, some big picture questions that kind of help guide, this whole educational journey that we're doing. Because that's what every course you take is. It's like this whole little hero's journey of education. And so the first big guiding question that I'd like to ask is, how does the world of the very tiny make itself seen in the world of the big? And so this semester, as we move into exploring electricity and magnetism, we're moving away from the world of the things that we can actually see with our own eyes to things that we can only hypothesize and learn about by probing nature, because we can't see it with our own eyes. And yet these things in the very small world, like electrons and like atoms, have very, very important real world consequences. Okay? So this semester is really neat in the sense that we get to see all the ways that this tiny microscopic world of subatomic levels actually creates meaningful things in the world, like all the imaging that you future doctors will do with patients, right? There's going to be so many ways in which you use x-rays, MRIs, CAT scans. Those are all manifestations basically of the properties of electrons. And that's pretty cool. Secondly, what is the role of science in making the world a better place? Another really important question, especially at a time when we now have technologies that can annihilate the entire human race, right? Starting with, nuclear weapons, right? We've had nuclear weapons for 70 years now, and these are things that actually have the power to end us, right? And we have things like CRISPR, which could create entire new classes of people because you can make superhumans with, everything perfect and designer babies. And that's scary. And our ability to create viruses potentially that could wipe out human civilization. So we really need to make sure that our moral and our psychological evolution happens just as strongly as our technological evolution is happening. And the scary thing is, it doesn't seem like that's happening. It seems like right now technology is outpacing how much we're actually understanding ourselves as humans. And so I think it's very important to always come back to this question of, how can science make the world a better place? All right. So that's my introduction. Okay. Next question is all the grading stuff, right? How I know if you learned something. And so the first thing I want to say is, when we talk about grades, I really want to emphasize these aren't just scary numbers that I apply to you, as some sort of reward or punishment, right? Really, at the end of the day, what a grade really is a measurement of how well I believe you understand the stuff in the course. And do I believe that you understand the stuff well enough where I can put a stamp on your transcript that says, yes, you learned enough of this to move on and finish your degree. Okay? And I know that grades are something that students get really scared about and really obsessed about. And so I want to take this moment to say that your grades are important. I'm not going to pretend they're not. But they're getting a B in a few classes, even getting a C, is not going to kill your dreams. I've had plenty of students before who got B's and still went to medical school, right? And one thing that I worry about is students get so obsessed about grades that they are stressing themselves out. It's like, physically not healthy for them. And it inspires them to make bad choices, like cheating, for example. A lot of students feel like the only way that they could avoid getting a grade that's going to ruin their career is if they cheat, when in fact, that most likely they're hurting their grades even more by cheating because they're going to get a 0 on the assignment. And, that's going to affect your grade more than, whatever question that you missed that you thought you needed to cheat on. So I want to make sure that students understand grades are important, but it's not worth, stressing yourself out or making bad decisions over. I also want to acknowledge that when you're learning something, there's many different types of smarts, types of intelligences that come into play, right? There's linguistic or word smarts. There's visual spatial or picture smarts. There are kinesthetic or body smart. There's intrapersonal or people smart. There's intrapersonal, which is self smart. There's musical smarts, and there's natural word smarts where people have a certain intuition for nature. And I do my best in this course to honor all those different kinds of intelligences and uh, create opportunities for students to be able to shine with those different kinds of intelligences. Now that is a little bit more difficult in terms of an online course, but still with things like projects and labs, which is our first category here, 30% of your grade, we're going to be doing some actual cool project-based learning. You're actually going to design and create rockets that we're going to launch on Fiesta Island in an exhibition at the end of the semester. And there's going to be also a lot of biology, life science-based physics labs that we do at a distance on this online course. There's also homework, which is 20% of your grade. This is, the nuts and bolts practice that's going to make you good at solving the problems that you're going to find on exams. Okay. And so if I were to boil down the success in physics, it really comes down to three things, which is doing problems, and doing problems. Doing so many problems that you start dreaming of physics. You want to do the problems until it becomes second nature. All right. And that's the place you need to be in, so that when you get to an exam, you look at a problem and you're like, I understand this so easily, right? That I can just totally, I don't even have to like think about it. My muscle memory already clicks into action, and I can start, I at least know how to start a problem. Okay. And so every week there's going to be a problem set of about 15 questions. That's going to be due Sundays at midnight. By the way, all your labs are going to be due Fridays by midnight. And I really encourage you not to procrastinate. Doing a little work each day is far more helpful, and studies have shown this, at internalizing information in the long term rather than cramming it into one day. It also allows you to have questions that you can ask me in office hours, because if you wait till Sunday, there will be no office hours that day for you to ask me questions. All right? There's also going to be 3 exams in the class. And I do my best to have these questions modeled after the MCAT or the DAT, because I know a lot of you students will be taking those tests, and it's helpful to prepare for those kinds of questions that you might see there. And then there will be a cumulative final exam, and that will be conceptual, numerical, and MCAT type questions. Now, all of these I designed so that if you get a 90 to 100% on it, that's going to be about an A. 80 to 89.99%, that's a B, and etc. So the kind of classic grade breakdown that you see. And I really do my best to design these exams so that if you understand 90 to 100% of the stuff on that exam, that'll give you an A, right? I expect that grades will be in this territory. I don't design exams where I expect the best student in the class to get a 30%, which I took some tests like that in my day. Now, that's kind of like the traditional stuff, but I also include other more non-traditional educational opportunities in this class. So I really believe that teachers and education often does a disservice to students in the sense that we're good at throwing all this content, but we're so bad at really teaching students how to be happy. And at the end of the day, why are you here? Why are you in college? Right? It all comes down to living a happy life. You want to have a good career so that you can provide for yourself, provide for a family, possibly, contribute to the world, do something that you find interesting and engaging and meaningful. It all comes down to happiness. We want to live a happy life, right? But that seems to get lost in this barrage of studying and worrying about grades um, and I think there needs to be some kind of a balance between those two. So the first enriching opportunity is something called the Science of Well-Being course. So as students, professionals, and human beings, I believe it is so important that we take care of our hearts and minds while we work so hard to build our careers. So I offer the opportunity to drop the lowest exam score for any student who completes the online Coursera course, which is free, the Science of Well-Being. And if you go to this course, you'll see her ratings. They're like, she's got like a 4.6 or whatever. Super high. It's a great class. And anyone can sign up using that link. There's a free version of it. The course addresses the roots of happiness and well-being, misconceptions that many of us have about happiness, and it teaches scientifically supported practices to boost happiness and emotional well-being, like mindfulness and gratitude. All right. So if you're interested in doing this, you need to let me know in the first 2 weeks of the course. That's super important because it's not something you can do overnight. You have to do a little bit over each week over the course of the whole semester because it is a full course. There's no exams and it's not stressful. I hope it wouldn't be, but there is like journal reflections and lectures that you have to watch. So it's something you want to spread over the 16 weeks and not just do right away. So that's one opportunity. The second is something that I'm calling our peer mentoring community. And this is something I've done a couple times in the past to huge success. There is a former student of mine named Tanea Williams who's transferred to SDSU, and she leads sections, these peer mentoring sections, where half of it is going over notes in the content of the week so that you get a different perspective on what we're learning that week, and the other half is her going over just skills and topics for how to navigate being a student. So these are things like how to develop a sense of belonging in the STEM field, how to build relationships with professors and get good recommendations, how to navigate the financial aid process, how to combat imposter syndrome, how to establish a community when you get to your four-year colleges, and many more. And so these are things, again, that aren't taught in traditional courses in college and yet are so important for students to master. And if you do go to all these sessions and you participate, you'll get 20 extra credit points to your homework score. And lastly, I offer a few work-based learning opportunities. So I'll just read this. Have you ever thought it strange that we ask young people to know what they want to do for the rest of their lives by age 18 without ever having had the opportunity to see for themselves what different careers are like? It's crazy, right? And so for this reason, I offer certain opportunities for students to get more of a sense of what certain fields might be like. One of those is having my old student and dear friend, Dr. Christopher Raffi, come and speak with the class about the process of being where you are, because that's when I first met him, a student, and we became friends, and I, followed him through his entire educational arc, through med school, through residency, and now he's a physician in the Bay Area making 4 times what I make, which is kind of amazing. And I'm not bitter about it at all. All right, so that's that. Here are the important dates. I don't really have to go through these, but just know that they're here, including our holidays and drop dates and add dates, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the frequently asked questions of this course. One of which is, what's the deal with late work? So First, with a valid excuse, that's a doctor's note or evidence of car trouble or something like that, you can make up one exam with the stipulation that it will be a different version and it'll be 10% harder than the last version. You can also make up one lab grade with or a missed lab with a 1,000 word paper on a legendary physics experiment. And so I'll have details for that in the welcome module on Canvas. And you can also reach out if you ever need to do that. So second question is, what is DSPS? DSPS stands for Disabled Students Programs and Services. And this is the program on campus here that's designed to increase access, success, and an inclusive learning environment to all students, including students with disabilities, so that they can participate fully and equitably in our college. Okay? There's the location of where it is on campus. And then if you have any questions or would like to discuss accommodations that you need, please reach out to me by email or Zoom and we will set those up. Okay? Next question. What if I am 0.01% away from an A? Well, then you get a B. So I know it's harsh and I know it's annoying, but teachers have to draw a line somewhere. And this is the system that we are working in. I don't think it's a perfect system, but it is, the only system we have. All right. So just wanted to clarify that. I've argued too many hours with students in the past about, them being close to a B or being close to an A, but not quite getting it. And I frankly, I just can't change that because it's not fair to other students. Okay. What happens if I miss a class? That really is irrelevant for this online course. So don't worry about that. Just your responsibility is to keep up. Okay. And two, what do I want to do if I want to drop? Okay. So for this one, I feel passionate about, so I'm just going to read this little spiel here. I get up every day and show up with energy, cool lectures, fun demos, and cool stories for one reason. It's because I want every person to have the opportunity to find their passion, live a fulfilling life, enjoy school, and be able to give something to the world, right? So if you're thinking of dropping, that messes up all my plans for you, okay? So if you're thinking about dropping, please come to me first and let's put a plan together, figure out where you're getting hung up, and, do whatever is needed for you to be successful, because that's ultimately what I want. And I've done this for many, many students in the past who feel like they're, falling apart or struggling or failing the class. We put a plan together, and a lot of times they won't just pass. They'll get a B, maybe even an A. Okay. It is so important to me that you let me know first, and so that we can put together some kind of a plan. Because really, dropping a course is the ultimate ghosting. It's like I'm getting ghosted, and that never feels good. Okay. Why am I here? One of the most memorable things that a teacher ever told me was this: we only get one shot at this. By this, she meant life, and she was right. My hope is that this class helps prepare you for a fulfilling career and also changes the way you look at the universe. Like every experience in life, you should try to make this class meaningful. If you do, I guarantee it will add value to your life. So not only does studying physics add value in terms of, your career being furthered and you getting closer to a degree, but when you understand the secrets of the universe, life just becomes a little bit more interesting. Like when I go to the beach, I don't just see, a beach. I see gravity operating on the waves, and I see trillions of molecules whipping through the air and pressure gradients. And I look at the sand on the beach and I consider, true story, that if you took all those grains of sand from the beach that you're on and all the rest of the beaches in the entire globe, it will not add up to all the stars that there are in the universe. All right. Trillions upon trillions of stars. And that just makes life more rich. All right. Integrity. Probably the most important page on this syllabus. So I want you to get serious for a moment and really hear me out here. All right. Integrity is the practice of being honest and upholding strong ethical principles and values. All right? The most important asset that you will ever have in your life or your career is your integrity. Why? Because you can be incredibly smart, you can work incredibly hard, you can have the best connections, but if the people you work with cannot trust your word, then everything else will fall apart. But if people do trust your word, then you have the foundation for a wonderful career in life. So for these reasons, I take academic honesty very, very seriously. And many of you will know academic honesty is, you know, the opposite of cheating. So cheating is academic dishonesty. And it is something that I take very seriously. And why? There's at least 4 reasons, and I'll share the 4 biggest reasons. First of all, many of you will have people's lives in your hands in the future, right? Doctors, dentists, pharmacists, physical therapists. This requires a sacred trust that you have had the education that you say you do, okay? The people who depend on you deserve that they know that you have earned your degree and that you've earned your degree fairly, okay? 2, cheating affects your classmates, especially the ones who did work honestly. I've had so many students come to me in the past in tears, and that hurts. It's hard to see because they watched somebody cheat and get an A while they worked incredibly hard for a C. And that's just, it's not fair, right? 3, cheating devalues the Cuyamaca diploma and makes it harder for everyone to transfer. And that's because if a school gets a reputation for a lot of academic dishonesty, okay, then 4-year colleges hear that reputation and they make it becomes a little bit less likely that they're going to accept you. 4, cheating is the easiest way, and it's probably the most important for everybody because, you know, they care about their future. Cheating is the easiest way to sabotage your own goals and dreams. I have had too many students in tears because they received a 0 and a note in their permanent record for cheating, okay? It's just not worth it. Why do people cheat? They cheat to get a better grade. But when you get caught cheating, and I've become much better over the years at catching people cheating, you're hurting your grade even worse. It just doesn't make sense and it's not worth it, right? All right. So for these reasons, if I find evidence of academic dishonesty, I will immediately send it to the dean and will give you a 0 on that assignment. Please, please do not risk this. Every semester I explain how serious this is, and yet every semester several students make bad choices that hurt their chances for transfer. This is devastating and painful and exhausting for everyone involved. So don't let it happen to you. Please. A little clarity on what I consider academic dishonesty. Accepting help on exams from anyone who is not your partner. 2, providing help or solutions on exams to anyone who is not your partner. And by partner, you'll see later in the course, you'll get one partner for exams. That has to be someone from the course, not your uncle who is like a physics genius or an engineer. 3, uploading your homework, labs, or exam questions to tutoring sites like Chegg, Slater, or Course Hero. 4, any kind of group chat where students exchange solutions or help during the exams. All right. That doesn't include everything, but if you're at all confused about what might be cheating, please ask me. Things that I consider evidence of academic dishonesty: finding any of my exams or labs on an online tutoring site, noticing handwriting that's not your own, using symbols or problem-solving methods that we did not use in lectures or textbook. Okay, if I see those symbols that have nothing to do with anything we've learned in the course, I'll probably think that you got it from somebody else's solution. Okay, I know that a lot of you may have learned physics in another country or in another culture. If there's different symbols, please try to adapt, just substitute, the symbols that we use in this course for it. It makes it a lot easier for me to not be suspicious. Okay. If you find yourself struggling in any way, I promise to be your best resource. We can figure out a plan together to get you back on track. That is my word to you. That is my integrity. So please consider whether you can commit right now to taking this course without engaging in any academic dishonesty. If so, please take a moment to make this promise to yourself. If, however, you cannot commit to earning your grade fairly and honestly, it might be a good idea to reflect on why. What kind of student do you want to be? What do you want to be known for? How do you want others to see you and remember you during your time at Cuyamaca? Okay? I think I've done a good job explaining how serious this is, and I hope that we have no incidents all year around this issue. These are the student learning outcomes, which are the legal things that I have to teach you and that I have to include on the syllabus. Go ahead and read them. It's less important than your weekly schedule. You have all of the things that you're going to be learning in this course, all laid out, including which weeks you have exams. So take a look at that. Notice that you'll have one exam on week 5, one exam on week 10, and one exam on week 14. These will be the only not asynchronous part of the course. They will always be on Thursdays from 5 to 7. Okay. Lastly, I have a top 10 list for how to be successful in physics. I encourage you to go ahead and read through all these. They are very helpful tips, very useful. And if you have any questions about them, I'd love to go over them with you. And I'll leave you with one final message from my good friend, Michael Scott, who says, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. Little nod to any Office fans out there. So, in conclusion, I am so excited for this semester. I love this job. I love the opportunity to teach you about the secrets of the universe. I feel very privileged to have that role in your life. I would love to get to know as many of you as possible, especially, if you're interested in recommendations in the future. It's helpful for me to know you. So come to office hours, get to know me, and I wish you the best possible semester. Thank you.